Okay, here we go. Part 2 of analysis of Nier Automata, for those of you who just can't get enough. Okay, so I talked about the philosophical ramifications of the game in terms of its overall message. Just the overall message. Not talking about individual message at all. I might get to that in a later video. In this one, I'm going to talk about the technical achievements of the game. Ooh. So if you're not interested in that, well, you can skip this video. We're just going to talk about technical reasons why it's the greatest game ever made. So we're going to talk about game mechanics, graphics, audio, that sort of thing. Controls, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. Okay, so first of all, the reason why, gameplay-wise, this is the greatest game ever made, has to do with the fact that a perfect game, philosophically, we're going to have to get into, hold on, because we're going to get into old philosophy here for a second here. I found out when Chair Entertainment, the game company, was founded, that the reason why they called their company Chair, I was like, why is a game company called Chair? Is because of the old philosophical idea that there is a actual object and then there is our idea of the object. And our idea of the object can be perfect because it is complete. So, there's no flaws in a mental picture of an idea. The actuality is, where it falls short. So, you have one idea of a chair, I have another idea of a chair. If we each build a chair, it's not going to be the same chair, it's going to be a different one. So, there's that idea, okay? Hold on, hang with me here. So, you have, a game that is your perfect game. What was the perfect game going to be? Well, the perfect game is going to be something different to everybody, right? Okay. Some people just say it's going to be a shooter. Oh, it's going to be an RPG. Oh, it's going to be a platformer. It's going to be, a run and gun. It's going to be a hack and slash. Okay. Fair enough. So, in general terms, the perfect game has to be everything. It has to do all of these things. It has to at least try to be every kind of game. And Nier Automata actually does this. It starts out as a top-down basic shooter, becomes a twin-stick shooter, becomes a side-scrolling, action game like Contra, turns into a hack and slash, and all the while being an RPG. Okay, so mechanically, it contains all these different types of mechanics. Okay, so, it's a jack of all trades, master of none, right? No. It's quite good at all of these things. It's quite a good shooter. It's quite a good RPG. It's quite a good 3D action game. It's quite a good run and gun. And the game switches seamlessly between them. The camera pans, forward or backward or sideways, and it's seamless. This is not even transitions. It's all of these things. And it's a great sci-fi action film and philosophical film as well. So, okay. Jack of all trades executes well on all of those. Okay, what else you got? It also, in addition to that, it is a completely accessible game. And this is where Nintendo falls flat on their face, and Sega does better, and Sony is a mixed bag. Microsoft really has the idea right now, and what I'm getting at is a game should be beatable by anyone. That's not, oh, just get good. No. If we're talking about a perfect game, a game with no flaws, everyone has to be able to beat the game, because you can't play a game if it's inaccessible. You can't beat a game if it's too hard. If a type of gameplay just doesn't gel with how your brain works, you can't experience it. And that's a hard fail. Sorry, but from a logical point of view, this is a solid fact. If you can't play a game, it can't be perfect. Wrap your head around that concept for a moment. So, Nier Automata is a game that has complete customization of difficulty. You basically can set the game to pretty much impossible to die. You can turn on auto aiming, auto special weapons, auto dodge, auto block. You can basically set the game to play itself. And some people will say, oh, that's boring. I don't want to play a game that plays. Well, you don't have to. Let's supposing you are a godly gamer whose hands are the hands of an android. You have superhuman fast reflexes. You're insanely awesome. All right, play it on hard. Turn off all assists. Don't upgrade at all. Play with your basic weapons. Now, how easy is it? Ugh. Yoko Taro famously made the game so that the intro, the demo, the beginning of the game, the tutorial, does not allow you to save, and has an extreme difficulty spike on hard. He knows critics like to play on hard, so he's like, let's see how you like that, critics. Die and see how much you like my game. And yeah, if you play on hard with, no practice and not having any experience, you probably are gonna die before you get to the first save point, and you're gonna have to start all over again, and the developer's gonna laugh at you, because that's the kind of person Yoko Taro is. But anyway, the game is completely flexible that way. You can upgrade everything. You can upgrade your weapons, and upgrade your weapons, and upgrade your weapons, and upgrade your special weapons, and you can make your health bar incredibly long, and you can combine and combine and combine your upgrades until you're this ridiculously overpowered person. You can, turn on all of these things to make you basically invulnerable and impossible to hit, and you can be like just on autopilot and just enjoy the story. Great, awesome. Or you can make the game decently hard on normal. You can make it really hard on hard, or you can really, really, really stretch your abilities and, just play the game the ultimate hard mode. That, mechanically, is genius. I have never seen a game with this level of customization in terms of how you can play it. The fact that you can lock on to enemies, or on hard, no lock on. Manual targeting only. Oof. You can have the game where, you're basically invulnerable, or you can ramp up the difficulty for more XP and be like a one-hit kill. You're hit once and you're dead. Ooh. But the perfect game has to have that level of flexibility. And it does. It really does let you play the game however you want. I've just never seen this level of brilliance in terms of game mechanics. So not only does it represent every genre, but it also allows you to customize how you play the game to drastically alter the experience depending on how hard you want it to be. So from a technical, mechanics point of view and gameplay point of view, just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. When you talk about the other aspects, okay, the graphics, pretty good. The ability to use controls, pretty good. It's not perfect, not flawless, but pretty good. Where it really stands out is how it uses the mechanics to tell a story, and how the mechanics keep surprising you with unexpected ways you can play. I've never seen a game that does that to this degree. It really just keeps surprising you. It's awesome to keep being surprised by a game. And it's something that Skill Up talks about in his video, where, it's like a street performer that, just has to keep upping his game to keep you interested in what he's doing. Oh, that was so neat. Yeah, now watch this. Wow, that's even neater. Yeah, well, watch this. Oh my goodness, how many balls can you juggle? Just keep adding, until the person's, roaring with applause, from the audience. And that's kind of what Yoko Taro's going at. He just keeps upping his game and wowing you repeatedly with what is happening in the game. Really incredible. Many, many people have talked about the soundtrack to this game, and Skill Up talks about that as well. The soundtrack is not only notable for just how incredible it is, just beautiful music, but also for the innovative use of music. when your characters are waking up in new bodies, the music sounds like a heartbeat. When the character is dying, the music sounds again like the last heartbeats of somebody as they die. The music becomes sprightly and spunky when you're, things are going well in the world and you're, traipsing through the overworld. The music becomes forlorn and sad when things are going poorly. As you're just entering an area, you hear soft undercurrents of a theme. As the enemies start to appear, it becomes more lively. As the boss appears, the full instrumentation and vocals kick in. Other people have, written and talked and had videos about this, but it bears repeating. It has basically a living soundtrack. And the closest thing I can think of is Mitsugushi's games such as Space Channel 5, Rez, and Tetris Effect, where your actions determine how the music sounds. Well, same thing. Skill Up talked about synesthesia, but it's not that. It's a similar feeling, of this fits this. What you're doing on the screen fits the music because the music dynamically changes to fit what's on screen. So if, you're fighting an intense battle, the music becomes intense. You're walking through an empty field, the music becomes, calmer. It's just absolutely brilliant, and I really can't think of too many other games that do something similar except the games I already mentioned. When you're failing in Space Channel 5, the music changes as opposed to when you're doing really well and, all the extras are clapping their hands and stomping their feet, or Jammer Lammy or Parappa the Rappa, when you're freestyling because you got cool, Similar idea. Musically, the way the music is used with the gameplay in this game is absolutely fantastic. Now, I said the graphics are pretty good. Now, if you have a higher end system, you're playing in a PC in higher res, or you're playing an Xbox One X or a PS4 Pro, the graphics might be more impressive, higher frame rates, higher resolution, and such. I've only played it on PlayStation 4 at the regular resolution, and I thought, the game was pretty good looking. It's not really trying to wow you with beautiful graphics constantly. The graphics are good. It is an artistic choice, but a lot of it is kind of, I want to say pastel, like a little washed out. It's a artistic choice. It kind of whitewashes the graphics to make them lighter, as opposed to really dark, saturated colors. And there's also a lot of green in the game. A lot of green, a lot of orange. I'm not crazy about those color choices on the whole, but, it's an artistic choice. I will say that a lot of graphical details and animation details really surprised me the first time I played it. Like when you're running through the sand, you'll sand surf like the protagonist in Journey, where you're just sliding down the sand, whee, little sand roller coaster as you're sliding down the dunes. I think I beat the game before I understood that you could do a perfect dodge that would have a counterattack if you dodge at exactly the right moment. There's a lot of little things like that in the game. Just as with, there's a lot of side quests you can do that are, optional. It's like that. There's a lot of little things that you might not discover even on one playthrough, and you might want to play the game through again just to see what you missed. Just a lot of little details. This is definitely not a game where you can beat it once all the way, like the 5 endings, and say, oh, I beat the game, I've seen everything there is to see. I doubt it. Unless you got all 26 endings and completed every side quest, you're probably going to notice a lot more things, especially if you already know the story going into the game. You are going to look at a lot of things in a very different light. Messages you receive, things that people say, backstories, you're going to have a different perspective on events, knowing what they mean. So, all right, that's it for part 2.